Just going to explore this just so I know what the name is. South Blood Moon. South Blood Bloom, even. Ancient statue. What have we got over here, then? A golden man, the size of a castle, sits atop his stone throne with such august stature, it seems that even he, as inanimate as he is, should rule the land. And perhaps they would be the better for it. This non-speaking entity with such an awesome presence would make a finer ruler than the lot of skunks you currently run into. The bulk of the statue rests upon an enormous disc made of spiraling square stones. Were they coffins, Were they coffins, they'd take all of 2 bricks to store the Marauders whole. Trash person tilts his helm up. If it ain't the biggest thing I ever seen, I don't know what is. Drusiki smirks and makes a reach for the sellsword's crotch. I thought the woman folks said the little worm was the biggest thing they've ever seen. As the company laughs, you step forwards and look up. You're not much for kneeling, but you feel the urge here. The statue staring out at the world with firm authority. Its hands are out to the sides, one upon a sword staked into the earth, the other supinated as though to weigh justice herself. You nod at the golden sheen present before you. That there is not a single scratch of a would-be robber suggests its austere presence still has some ethereal grip on the world. But that doesn't make sense. Any smart man would be nicking a fair share of the statue's shins alone. A few mercenaries ask if they have a stab at collecting some gold for themselves. There's no harm in it. The statue was so huge, perhaps it scared off the lesser scapegracers by superstition alone. You have no reason to let such a good thing go. A nearly endless pile of gold shaped in something pretty. To hell with history and the artistry, you tell the men to have at it. They leap to the task with the tools available, but the second trash person makes contact, he falls limp and slumps against the statue. Another mercenary goes to help him, brushes the enormous toe there, and collapses atop the sellsword. Just as the company begins to panic, the 2 mercenaries jolt back to their feet and start screaming about amazing sights. Sights beyond this world! Sights of the future itself. Invigorated by this, the company gladly runs themselves into the statue, the lot banging against its giant toes and falling backwards like mimes unexpectedly finding a very small wall. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen, but each man springs back to his feet, spilling out fantastic stories. You shrug and walk up to the statue yourself, standing before the big toe with its big toenail. The men urge you forwards. Sighing, you put your hand out and touch the toenail. Nothing. Nothing happens. You fist the gap between the nail and the golden flesh. You angrily put both hands on the toe like it owes you money. Nothing! Well then, looks like you've riches to harvest. You draw the sword out. Time to strike gold. You swing the sword, but the second steel touches gold. The sheen of the world flashes over you as though you struck the sun itself and drew blood. The sword continues on into the darkness like a star across the night sky, and it cuts a world of its own into reality, as though you've slashed the magician's cloth of its trick, revealing a room with pillared corners and beautiful silk curtains, and the sword continues on until it slams against a spear shaft. You look down to see a man with gilded armour and red eyes holding his guard with a grimace. He slides across the tilted floor to his right and lets your momentum fall to the ground. Then he twirls the spear around his back and strikes it forwards. You throw your arm wide and close rank with the killer, catching the spear shaft beneath your armpit and driving forwards to stab him just beneath his pauldron, driving the sword into his heart. The man's red eyes drain into a pure white and he goes limp and slides right off the steel. As he clatters to the ground, you quickly look around. Against the far wall stands an enormous bed with corners of marble, each statue shaped to a woman or a man, each of them adorned submissively to what looks like a rising sun. There's an elderly man in the bed who is looking at you, bearded, eyes dim, weathered. Familiarity in his stare, he smiles, but it quickly fades. He yells, but you don't understand the words. A shadow slides across the room and you wheel around to see a large knight with fire in his eyes bearing down with a two-hander. Parry. You step back and flip your sword crosswise and crouch at the knees to brace for impact. The killer's two-hand slamps against your sword, and just like that, the world snaps away. And still frozen in a parry, you can feel the insistence of time and space fly by your sides like a ploughwind. Ungodly amounts of suffering, screaming, living, and dying. And in the far distance, a speck of light that fast approaches until you arrive back in your body and your sword hits the statue and swings backwards so hard it flies out of your hands and sails through the air until stabbing into the earth with an earthen clunk. The men look around one another. You go and fetch your sword. I think you broke it, sir, says Grumbuskin as he gets handsy with the pinky toe. You tell him and the rest of the men to pack their things. It's time to leave this place. Looking at the statue, you see that it's all but rusted bronze now. You think to ask one of the mercenaries if it had been gold earlier, but you already know the answer to that. Instead, you stare at the head of the statue, at the face. At the very familiar face. Mordred, when are we getting a book reading stream? I don't know what it is. Sometimes, like, that section, I can just read it easy, no problem. And sometimes I just stumble like crazy. But that bit flowed quite well. I think it's when, like, the grammar gets screwed up that I struggle. I'm like, it should read like this, but it doesn't. Oh, there's the Marauders. Bye-bye. Several battles are fought along here. No sign of any traders, though, which is a little bit disappointing. I think we may need to go over to, like, Krug, because I think that they do trade with these guys. Oh, supply caravan. Speak of the devil. Many footmen. Oh, it's a house supply. Let's do a quick save so I don't need to read that again. Because I don't know if they're going to try and attack me if we pass through them. Okay, they don't. Good to know. Yeah, we'll go to Krug. And then I really need to start doing some contracts because we're almost out of money and almost out of food. Things were going so well and now suddenly they've not. Too much time walking around. We can pay for one more day. That is, if we don't sell anything, we should be able to. Ooh, there's contracts here. That's a lot of money. 310, even though it's worth 245. Nice. And suddenly, my money woes have disappeared. Food's not the cheapest I've ever seen it, but it's also not the most expensive. In fact, items here seem to be very cheap. Comparatively. And there's a contract. What is it? You step into Rudolph the merchant's room and he shoves a map in your face. Know a place by the name of the ancestral remains, but I know not where it is other than it resides west of here in this stripe of land called the Kindon. No, I don't like those exploration missions because they're never easy. And they always cost me way more money in food and pay than I actually get out of it. Have I played in the Age of Wonders game before? I am sure I have, and I was sure I owned it, but I don't actually. Maybe it's Age of Wonders 2 I have rather than 3, that's possible. But when I was going to stream it this week, and then when I looked at my Steam list, it wasn't there. But as you can see from the schedule, I'm going to be streaming Age of Wonders Planetfall all day tomorrow. Paradox have finally, very, very kindly given me a pre-release. I'm part of the streamer event. So if you want to see the new Age of Wonders, find it here tomorrow. Time's still pending. I'm waiting to hear back from Paradox for a confirmation of when I'm streaming. 9 brigands. Do I want to take on 9 brigands? Thugs and poachers. I think we can do that. Poachers and raiders. See, that I don't want to do. Those peasants are like, nope. Alright, so this is a really bad area for brigands and stuff. Noted. Alright, we're going to go back to civilization and hopefully get some contracts over there. These roads are really sodding long. Unless, of course, I find a caravan to steal. Which would certainly be rather nice. Nothing. Level 2 contract. I want no part of that. Because that's the werewolves, isn't it? I have 3 food left. Alright, we're going to make camp here until morning. Until the market opens. And then buy some grain, which is actually a reasonable price. And then... oh, we have a spare shield. You all shielded now? You are. Well, that's good. And now I have enough money for one day. What do you want? Your men venture into town, you go to the pub and take a seat. As soon as you do, a strange man joins you. You're with Mordred's Marauders? You nod. The man nods back and reaches into his pocket. You reach for your dagger. The stranger puts his hand out. Easy there. I'm wearing a sword. If I wanted to kill you, taking a seat probably wouldn't have been the best route. The man lifts his sheath and it bumps on the underside of the table. He cocks his head as if to say, see? You nod and the man continues with his move, taking out a note and passing it to you. A local councilman by the name of Janel the Younger wishes to see you. Ah, caravan. 2 days or so from here. I have enough money for one day. Please tell me there's an advance. There's not an advance. It's fine. Let's do this. Alright, off we go. Nuts. It's going to be afternoon now, but now I have to pay. So hopefully we get there before afternoon tomorrow. You find an abandoned wagon amongst some tall reeds. Wilhelm the pugilist checks it out, barks back. It's broke as shit, but I think we can salvage parts of it. Gain tools and supplies. Nice. Are there going to be more people streaming Planetfall tomorrow? I think so. Give me just a second and I will link you to the information which I have got. And this is all legit because it's from their Twitter feed. Just reload this, see if there's anything new yet. No. So those are the details that have been published so far. There are supposed to be... well, I'm streaming tomorrow, Thursday, and I suspect that a lot more of the other strategy community is going to be streaming on Thursday. And then there are other... I hate to say it, but more generic streamers streaming on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I've got some fairly large names like Krendor and Dodger there. That's just streaming Fallout 76, so I'm tempted to give them a piece of my mind even they got me banned, freaking con artists. They made the game, they have to try and sell it. The fact it's not a very good game means it's not selling very well. Where are we going again? Windwacht. Oh, there was a caravan we could have stolen. I'm really hoping that we get there before afternoon. We're not going to. Midday. No brigands this time though, which is good to see. Alright, so we made the money. Let's just go and double check food supplies. Ooh, cheap. Buy them. And now we have enough for another 2 days, which is what it's basically going to take us to get out of here. An extremely cheap militia. Oh, I wish I could buy you. Militia background tend to be really good at fighting. Like, a lot better than the regular peasant types. Unfortunately, he's going to require 470 to buy. I don't think I can raise that kind of money, although we can sell that wolf pelt. 350. You can sell the axe hammer, but that's a really good weapon, so I'd rather not. Plus, then we wouldn't be able to pay them. We could go down to Krumwalder, but I suspect that's going to take us absolutely ages to get there. Alright, let's head back over to Wiesenhaus. Three brigands. We will fight them. If I can catch them. Go, go, go. Yeah. Now this is in the mountains, so this is probably going to be like a seriously high terrain. There you go. Is there a way of turning the hexes on? No. Too bad. Alright, how do we want to do this? They're going to be over on this side, so we probably want to try and get up here as quickly as possible. There's a guy down there. I was wondering what that image was all about. Oh, hell yeah. Wham! He was a long way down. So are you. Release the hounds! 7%, 5%, 12%. How much does this require? 8. Can't move at all and still do an aimed shot. Make sure we get as many people around them as possible so we can go stabby stab. Why can't every battle be like this? We're on the way. Much better. Boom. Is the dog ignoring armor? Certainly seems to be, doesn't he? 200 money, small shield, dagger, food, ammo, bandages. That's not a bad haul. Especially the money. Almost 200 crowns? For 3 guys? Hell yeah. Now I wonder, are we faster to go out and then around, or just continue across the mountains? You think to continue across the mountains. Okay, well I'm going to save here. Just in case. I'm not paranoid, you're paranoid. Use double the food in mountains, good to know. And yeah, just the scouting is useful. We're about to get back over to Weissenhaus. Back to the White House! Someone's ahead of us. Probably peasants. A level 3 contract. No, I'm good. Pass. Hard pass. Have the nunchucks. Have the linen tunic as well, for that matter. Cloth roll, still not a great price. I need to get my relations up with these towns a lot more. I'd love to hire another person, but I don't think I really have the finances to do it. That's a friendly supply caravan. Those are some not so friendly peasants. Witch burning's rebuilding effort. Ridiculously cheap tools. You still have a level 2 mission here. It's gonna be to go for those direwolves, isn't it? It's gonna be. Dagger could be useful for getting armor, you're not wrong. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give the dagger to Mordred. And then let's have a word. A servant bids you wait for Eberach the merchant, who he says will be right with you, and so you wait, and wait, and wait. And finally, as you're about to leave for the second time, Eberach the merchant throws open the doors and rushes towards you. Who is this again? The mercenary! His assistant nods, and Eberach the merchant sets on a smile. Oh, most fortuitous to have you in Bockenberg, good captain. It's imperative that you have some precious commodities of mine reach Brandstadt as safely and quickly as possible. You are precisely who I need, for no common brigand would dare attack you and your men. Yes, I'd like to hire you for an escort. Make sure the items are delivered to Rainer of Brunstedt. No detours, of course. Can we come to an understanding? I think so. I should have haggled that. Never mind. You want me to get to Brunstad, which is over here. Oh, man. As the crow flies, not very far, but going by the roads is like 4 towns away. Going across the Great Plains in the dark of night. I can't see how this could go wrong. Brunstad's quite big too. Ka-ching. Crown's well deserved. 2 more level 2 contracts. And some exceptionally cheap dyes. And some very cheap wine too. Why is everything so cheap? Dyes usually are like 600. Especially considering the tools here are 364. I've seen dyes for like 600, like on average about 600. Even in cities that like me. Oh, I definitely don't have the finances to do it now. But, noted. A historian. I do like historians, they level up quickly. Caravan hand, a shepherd. An apprentice. Looking for where this man's past truly lies, Hugo read books and studied human nature, using his position in academia to bed women. Eventual scandals and controversies drove the historian from his field and left him penniless and ready to take on any job. Hugo's time with the outfit is to develop a theory, but can he survive the experiments? Welcome to the team. Speaking of which, Carl hasn't been renamed. Carl was going to be Sergei. I think that's what I named him last time. Then we got Hugo, who is going to be Valiant. Please be something good. Brave! Ha! Perfect. And high resolve, high initiative, high fightiness. Actually pretty bloody good fightiness for a level 1. Welcome to the team. Have an axe. Really need to get some better armor.